Here's my primary question is I'm a USA passport holder. I have basically been traveling full time for a couple years, but I do have a retirement visa in Thailand and I am currently in Thailand. How much
Okay.
time do I need to spend here in order to establish residency here?
Oh, that's. I'm sorry. This is something for a lawyer. If I have my guess, you see, but I like absolutely would not take my guess just to make sure. Like imagine that you do something based on my comment, because this is not really legal advice, and it is
No,
very
I will be getting a lawyer. I'm just,
very
see
not
what your
common
opinion is.
question. Exactly. I know, for example, people from Turkey is I don't know. I've seen people in the community applying from Turkey, from Istanbul, asking, do I have to spend a minimum time in order to be considered to be a legal resident, so that the consulate is Istanbul? And some people were answering that they needed to spend at least 2 years. Okay, but I don't know based on what they came with that answer, and if
Okay.
it is something that is local to each country. But I wouldn't see any problem in asking the consulate of Spain, if you can contact them directly and say, like, would you take my application if I apply from here? Because I am a legal resident in Thailand, without giving any more explanations or details. And if
Okay.
they say yes, then you're good to go.
Okay. I know each consulate is different or embassy is different. Do you know what type of documentation is generally accepted to show residency?
To show residency, that depends on each consulate. I could tell you that in the States you show your driving license, for example. In the UK they don't have this. They had to prove it, that via invoices, like utility bills, and they rental contracts or property ownership, property deeds. So depending on the country, yes, they
Okay.
will ask whatever proof you have that proves that you are a legal resident within the jurisdiction that is being served by that specific consulate. Yes. So in the case of Thailand, I don't know what they ask to people to prove that legal residency. Do you have a residency card? That would be the best. Imagine, right? Um,
Okay.
do you have something like that?
I don't have a residency card. I have a bank account. I have a lease agreement, and I have a retirement visa.
Right. So, for example, in the UK, also people submit bank accounts where their address appears. Yes, and the consulates can check that out. But I don't know if the Thai consulate, I guess Bangkok, what they're used to require. What I usually see in consulates that are not that common for this type of applications is that they're more flexible. Yes, people
Okay.
applying from Tel Aviv, people applying from Hong Kong, from Bangkok, people applying from Dubai. They're more accommodating, you see, because they don't have this huge influx of people applying for this visa. They don't have these volumes, and they never sat down, to harmonize the way that people comply with the legal requirements. So they tend to be more open. Okay, this is
Okay.
my experience from comments from other people. But recently, I just there's very little information about Bangkok. Someone was asking about how to get the police check from Bangkok, and I was working on that, providing that information, and I think I just published it on Spainguru.es. If you go
Okay.
to
Yes.
you will meet.
Actually, I just did that.
All right.
So it was quite simple.
Okay, it was simple. Yeah, like something about like anyways, yes, there's very little information, and whatever comes out, I try to create an article so that you can find it here in this section in latest articles. You go to Spainguru and you go to latest articles, and here you can search for Thailand or Bangkok if there's something else that
Yes.
that you may need.
Okay, for anyone else applying from Bangkok.
Also, like
it's-
what I would do in your case, let me check like consulado español en Bangkok. Bangkok. By the way, I love Thailand. I've been there many, many times. It's a fantastic place to be, really. Even
I did go to the embassy to try to ask questions, and they would not answer any questions about acquiring the visa.
they were not very helpful, were they?
No, not at all.
So this is the Spanish version. This is Servicios Consulares, because really, usually in these countries, the embassy and the consulate, it is all in the same building. Not
Yes.
the case of the United States. You have the embassy in Washington, D.C. only, and then you have several consulates across the country. So here I will go to Visados, and then I will go to Visado de Residencia No Lucrativa, Non-Lucrative Residency. Of course, you can do all this in English if you want.
Okay.
But if there's something I can help you here, is maybe in Spanish there is more information, and sometimes they translate everything to English, and some information falls into the cracks.
Yes.
So let me see if there's something that can answer your question here officially. Formulado solicitud de visado nacional, something that was deleted here. Impreso solicitud, DX01, photography, valid passport, at least 1 year of validity period. No passport that were not expedited more than 10 years ago. Well, then the money, like economic funds, insurance, certificate, prueba de residencia. Okay, here. Prueba de residencia en demarcación consular. Here they're very open. It says that you will prove that you are a legal resident within the jurisdiction of the consulate by showing an original certificate and a photocopy of the document that proves that you're a legal resident within that area. They don't say which one. There is something that was deleted here. So they're very open, at least here in this information. Now let's look at it in the English. Do you know if they use BLS for the processing of his visa there?
Yes, they do use BLS.
Right, let's check out BLS as well. You probably did already, but
yes,
Embassy Consular Services in English. I always do this, okay? This is the procedure that I like, is always check the requirements in English, in Spanish, and BLS requirements as well, and ask the community if someone has recently applied at that specific consulate, because they will come with fresh information. So
yes.
Here, visas is non-working, they call it here. And you probably checked this already. And let's check residence. And here, proof of residence in the consular district, and that's it.
Right.
No more information. Sorry, I laughed not to cry.
No, I understand. It's very vague.
It's very vague, exactly. I tend to react laughing when I'm like pretty sad, because the information here is very incomplete, to say the least. So here I'm entering BLS in Thailand. Of course, you need to read all this information, this huge pop-up. Let's go to English. BLS English is quite, I would trust the English version. This is an Indian company. Their main language is English. It's not the case of the consulates. So here, visa types, and then here we have non-lucrative visa. Okay. There's a neat pop-up there that is important to read. Documents required. And here I'm going to go proof of financial means, criminal record for family members, residence. Let's go by the residence. So I don't see valid residence permit. Only for non-Thailand. There. Here they give more information. So only for non-Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos nationals, resident permit, visa, and certificate of residence issued by authorities of the countries above. So you're a non-Thailand, Cambodian,
Correct.
Myanmar nationals. So you need, according to BLS, this is what you need to provide: resident permit / visa and certificate of residence issued by authorities of the countries above.
Okay, and unfortunately, I have not been able to figure out what a certificate of residence is. But I will research that. I will continue researching that and see if
It's a
anyone.
rabbit hole, probably,
Yes.
that you need to go through. But yeah, but here there are more. And have you tried contacting these guys, BLS?
Yes, I actually went to BLS and talked with them directly, and they recommended that with my visa that I have it established for more than a year. It has not quite been a year yet, but they didn't, and they said provide it with the lease. And if I can get some utility bills, which unfortunately I don't have in my name, that would be helpful. But they didn't give really any other specific documentation.
Right. I guess the best would be to obtain a written answer from them so that you can work based on that answer. Otherwise, you would be risking, to go through all the documents and everything, and then they potentially don't let you apply.
Okay.
Remember that BLS is an outsourced company. They are not the consulate. Yes.
Right.
And the consulate are neither judges. They are civil servants who apply the regulations with their interpretations, right? So if you go with a lawyer, potentially, if you go with a visa expert, potentially they can give you some leverage, to call it in a way, in case that you can't apply. A lawyer could potentially write a document explaining that they are going beyond their limits of interpretation of the regulation and the law, and they should let you apply. You see, otherwise
Yes.
you would appeal this to the ministry, or Ministry of Justice, etc., and maybe this way you get things moving.
Okay. I don't want to take all your time if someone else has a question.
All right, next question. All right, perfect. Well, sorry I couldn't be more helpful with that. So let's go with the question. Jason, who's asking here, for my first tax year in Spain, should I include on the Modelo 720 my social security and 401 information, even if I'm not old enough to start collecting these funds? Right. Social security and 401. So, first of all, this question is a little bit on the gray. The answer to this question is depending who you ask to. They will tell you one thing or another. And I'm talking about asking tax experts. Yes, there is no clear agreement on the answer of this question. And also because there's been some evolving interpretations by those experts and by the tax authorities in Spain. So the 401k, people were not declaring it, and but then there were people who started to declare it. And if you join my tax webinar, and yesterday I did one, there's the recording online on Spainguru's YouTube channel. there is some evolving interpretation. The 401k should also be included in the 720. Okay. Of course, you need to ask to tax advisor that is expert and used to working with Americans, because only Americans have 401ks. And the Social Security, I haven't heard that that you had like Social Security. As far as I understand, it's, I don't know how that shows in terms of taxation in the U.S., but I haven't heard that Social Security had to be declared in the 720. Okay, so that's, I would be more lenient to say that the Social Security should not be declared in your 720. Okay, but for 1Ks, Roth IRAs, it is possible that expert tax advisors will tell you you want to be on the safe side, then you should declare them. Or if you want to risk it, maybe, risk a fine or something if they discover and they deem that you had to, disclose those accounts and take the risk. Maybe you could just perfectly not do it. So probably they will give you two options depending on your risk appetite, let's say, right? Good news are that the 720 form used to have incredible penalties. What I'm saying, I'm falling short when I say incredible. They had tremendous penalties for the smallest mistakes, okay, in the 720. And those mistakes at some point were reported to the European Union, and the individual who reported this won the case. And that pushed the Spanish government to change the penalties for the 720. And even though they're not small, let's say, I think they can reach up to 20,000 euros. They could have been like in the order of hundreds of thousands, the penalties before. I'm talking around like 10 years ago, 8 years ago. This changed after this case. So let's say that if you take the riskier path, the penalties are not as huge as they used to be. And yeah, but of course, and again, I'm not a tax advisor. I would love to get a proper final answer to this. Probably I will interview an expert tax advisor in my channel in order to get a proper answer for this question, because many people are asking it, and it's a very valid question to be asked. But yeah, definitely you can find my vetted recommended professionals on Spainguru.es. Next question. I've heard lately from posts online that the Spanish consulate, I guess, in Houston was requiring an address prior to moving to Spain. Have you heard anything? Let's check that out. So we can go here. So first of all, let's go to non-lucrative. Let's go to the official source. So I'm hearing like a lot of things. I'm gonna tell you the long answer to this, okay? Because it is a very, let's say, nuanced question, okay? Let's go first to the official source. And of course, if you go to Spainguru.es and you go to guides and blog, visa guides, non-lucrative visa, NLV consulates, US consulates, and we go to Houston, you can see all, the official links in English and Spanish, okay? And also you can see some first-hand experience or articles related to the different consulates. Yes. The last one is May 2025. So December 2024. Let's go to the newest one here. And here, rent different lease. So Arrive early, get handed an internal checklist. There's an internal checklist here that you need to check. These are the typical requirements that they don't publish on their websites. So checklist. Address in Spain for at least 3 months, they say here. All right. Okay, we have here a little hint there. And let's see if they say something here in the official page. Address. With the address in Spain, each applicant will need this. Postal address in Spain. At least the first 3 months. All right, so now let's go to the group and let's search for Houston. And let's search the word address. So recent posts, August 28, New York City. The search tool on Facebook is not great. It's not very good. You know, these people are asking from New York City, have never mentioned your city. So yeah, things like Padrón, Houston BLS, April. They require an address for the first 3 months. We have an Airbnb reservation, but address isn't available until 80 days prior. So these people went through this. Let's open up this one. It's April, so a few months passed. But apparently some people... Oh, and I shared here an interview that I want you to listen. This is very important, by Ainhoa Manero of Sterna Abogados, expert immigration lawyer, who I have asked to her, is it even legal to require people to get leases before we go, before they go to Spain? And this is where she answers. So you can just message the host. That's what we did to obtain the address. We got our visas last week from Houston. So people are doing reservations, are reserving on Airbnb. So yeah, you should ask this in the group just to get the fresh answer. Now let's listen to this. Very important. Always give a like to the video. Very important. So I don't know if you heard the video well, but Ainhoa, she says that it is illegal. You know, they are going beyond the rational interpretation of the regulations, and she never lets her customers do a rental in advance. Okay, because it's a risky situation. They have not been in Spain. So she takes a screenshot of idealista.com, yes, Idealista, for example, and she says, look, where are you planning to move? Yeah, you're planning to move to Malaga, for example, okay? She takes here a list of properties, yes, and she takes a screenshot of this, and she says, my customer is searching for places like this. Okay, she has this customer has contacted these realtors, and this is the type of property that they're planning to rent. Okay, and that's it. This is what she provides, right? Now, some consulates are strict. Yes, some consulates are strict, and they want a lease, but if they deny you your application because you were not able to provide a rental in advance, that is against the regulation and the law. Okay. But I know also says that it is totally understandable that many people don't want to go through the problem or add friction in their processes, and they just rent people. This is what people do. They go to Airbnb and they rent for 3 months, and then once they get their visa granted, they cancel the reservation if they're not going to use it, or they reduce it, okay, from 3 months to less, maybe 2 months. That's what I've seen in people doing in DC, for example, and I have the example right here. It's hard to find, but yeah, people are sharing that here. You see here on the right corner, DC Airbnb booking shortened from 3 months to 2 months after the approval, right? This is also what people do. And if you search here, Spainguru visa certificate Airbnb, I have here a wonderful video that explains you how to get the visa certificate from Airbnb. It tells you how to do it. Okay, you can also watch this video. All right. So yeah, this is the nuanced answer to that question. Unfortunately, sometimes answers take a long shape and nature, because as you can see, there is an answer. There is an answer that the lawyer says you shouldn't rent in advance. Then people say if you don't want to add problems to your application, rent it. But then there are ways to mitigate the impact of renting on Airbnb, which usually is very expensive. So, and here again, always give a like to the video. Very important. If you don't give a like to my videos, it's gonna be a dark cloud coming, unfortunately, to your NLV process. But if you give it a like, it's the total opposite effect. I'm gonna be sending very, very good vibes and good luck from Malaga, so that you get approved very, very quickly and swiftly, and your dream to come to live to Spain gets accomplished. So, do we have any more questions here?
Yes, I have another one.
All right, please go ahead.
If I apply for my NLV in Thailand, can I add a non-married partner at a later date? Do I need to do it at the same consulate or in Thailand, or can I do it from another country?
It's also a great question. People don't usually ask this. I mean, really, like, that's fantastic. You should start creating content for Spainguru.es, first of all. But I mean, 99.99% of people add their dependents at the time of application of the non-lucrative visa. I have not heard cases of people who don't do that, so I don't have an answer to that, unfortunately. Let me see. Adding a dependent. Also, remember that now, also after May 20th, 2025, adult children and parents are no longer accepted. Okay, adult children. So children who are over 18 years old. Okay. Unless specific situations of medical dependency, etc. This has changed. This is important. But yeah, definitely, I think you should join this group and ask that question, and let's see what people come out with.
Okay.
So here, for example, October, we're moving as a family, but we have an elderly age who needs to come with us. When it comes to dependents, really the combinations are very varied. The common ones are, of course, with spouse or non-married couple duly proven, okay, by 1 year of cohabitation or legal document of legal um, partnership or having children together, like that is for couple spouse or children younger than 18 years old. Now they have to be. Those are the common cases, right? And they usually apply at the time of doing so. Like adding a dependent later on for this visa is not something that I see. Not
Okay.
often, but never. So I don't
Okay.
know if it's even possible.
Okay. So
So,
the best case scenario is to do everyone at the same time as a dependent.
oh yeah, that's 100% sure. If you haven't
Okay.
joined this group, Spanish and LV, you can just ask your question here. You can always ask anonymously. If you don't want to share, I'm okay. Many groups don't let people anonymously post. I don't care if you're anonymous, if your question is valid. And this is, of course, a super valid question that is interesting to know the different experiences of people. Um, yeah, let me just search, ¿no? ¿Puedo añadir un dependiente a la visa no lucrativa? Like, when would you like to add this dependent?
As soon as possible. My concern is I have a valid residency in Thailand, hopefully. However, my partner does not, so they may actually be residing in the Philippines at the same time that I am applying for the visa.
Vale,
So,
okay. Cool.
so
So,
my, I was just saying I would get my visa and then hopefully be able to add them on.
um, we have to be extremely careful with the results that come out from artificial intelligence.
Yes.
As I can see here, this is not correct, and it is citing actually Stern Abogados, okay, in an article 2024, but it is not. It doesn't really answer this specific question. So, and AI is actually mixing up. So I wouldn't trust that. The article is saying like, yeah, of course you can add dependents, yeah, when you submit your visa application, but it doesn't say that you can add them afterwards. That the main
Okay.
applicant has submitted the application. So let me see requisito solicitud. So as you can see, not even the results are coming up. There's not much content on this. So yeah, definitely, please join the group, ask a question, and I'll be
Okay.
looking very, very closely what people are answering. And tomorrow I am interviewing a Nueva Manera for student visa and for the modification of a non-lucrative visa to digital nomad visa and vice versa. And but I think I could add this question tomorrow, yes, to see if she can give me an answer
Okay.
without
Along
without guaranteeing that answer right now, but I will try to ask for it.
along those lines, if I do have a dependent that is with me in Spain on my non-lucrative visa as a dependent, and they decide that they want to work, can they convert to a work visa at that time?
I think they're piggyback, like only them and not you.
Yes, them, just them.
Again, I don't know. Sorry.
Okay.
No, I don't know. It's just like impossible. I think you should consult a lawyer, honestly, because also, like, what I understand is like they cannot work, okay, and they need to modify their residence permit, yes, which is a non-lucrative residence permit, but they are, let's say, piggybacking you. So the main residence permit is yours. So my answer is that I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so, but I'm not sure. Like, I could be absolutely wrong about this. Okay.
Okay.
I know that you, as a main dependent, you can do it. Okay. After 1 year, you could potentially modify your residence permit to a work permit, and or go to a digital nomad visa, etc. And if you comply with the requirements, you would do it, and the then the status of your dependent would change. Okay. But
Okay.
only the dependent asking for this modification is a tricky one that I don't know the answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Ask please all those questions in the group, please. Thank you so much, everyone. If there are no more questions here in the chat box, or anything here. All right, this was the previous question that someone asked here. So yeah, anything else? I really appreciate everyone joining today. Thank you so much. I will be uploading this to the Spainguru's YouTube channel. If you want to watch the recording again, I will send you the recording link to your email addresses. Thank you so much again. And please join the Spanish Non-Lucrative Visa group. The best way to find it, if you go to spainguru.es, yes, we have best way to find all the community. You go to Spainguru, and here you go to community. If you push here in community, you have here Spain immigration, non-lucrative visa, all the groups. There's also a subreddit. It's not that active as the non-lucrative visa group. It has almost 25,000 members, the Facebook group. So I highly recommend you joining this one, asking all your questions. And yes, and if you need expert immigration lawyers, here you can find my recommendations and all the services needed to apply for the non-lucrative visas abroad, tax advice as well, etc., etc., etc. Thank you so much for joining today. I see you around and have a wonderful week. Bye bye.